My friend Lefty's asking about us. Don't embarrass me, Capiche?
I wouldn't do that to you. You know that, Joe.
Because if you do, I'm just gonna whack you out.
That's not good.
All right, Chief. Go back to your man.
Say with respect to defendant John Gotti, guilty or not guilty? We find him not guilty.
Must we say goodbye each time we part? My heart wants to die. Darling, hear my prayer. Can't believe there. I'll be your love.
Hi, Mom. What do you think? Look at my shoes. Aren't they great?
My God, you look like a gangster.
By 1931, Al Capone was at the top of his game. He had no real rivals anymore among Chicago's mobsters, and he continued to expand his empire in case prohibition was repealed. He took over labor unions, chauffeurs, plumbers, city workers, motion picture projectionists, soda pop peddlers, kosher poultry dealers. And he toyed with the idea of going into the dairy business because more people bought milk than booze. Besides, the markup was higher. Honest to God, he said, we've been in the wrong racket right along. Meanwhile, President Hoover remained determined to put America's most famous bootlegger behind bars, one way or another.
The income tax was a fairly new phenomenon, and a lot of people didn't understand it. And if you're a criminal and all your business, all of your income is illegally gained, it makes sense that you are not going to file a return and admit that you're taking in all this illegal income. And tell the government, basically, in case you hadn't noticed, I've been bootlegging for the past year, and here's how much I made. When the Supreme Court announced that, yes, illegal income is taxable, it was a great moment of confusion for all these criminals, and many of them went down and filed tax returns. Capone did not get around to filing, neither did his brother Ralph.
For 2 years, the government tried without success to build a case, any case, against Capone.
Welcome back to Under the Knife, on location. It probably won't surprise you to find out that I was a strange child, and I grew up to be an even stranger adult. I used to drag my grandmother from cemetery to cemetery in Chicago hunting ghosts, so I thought while I was here, I'd relive those days. That's my grandma driving her German sports car.
Mount Carmel Cemetery was consecrated in 1901. There are 250,000 remains at the site, and about 800 remains are interred here annually. The cemetery is most notable as the final resting place of numerous local organized crime figures from history.
The most famous resident here is the gangster Al Capone. Now you may be wondering what any of this has to do with medical history. Well, I have one word for you: syphilis.
Al Capone is the most notorious and violent old-school gangster ever to terrorize Chicago. At the height of his career during Prohibition, he and his gang were raking in more than $100 million annually. In 1932, he was charged with tax evasion
Hoover remained determined to put America's most famous bootlegger behind bars, one way or another.
Income tax was a growing phenomenon. A lot of people didn't understand it. And if you're a criminal and all your business, all of your income is illegally gained, it makes sense that you're not going to file a return and admit that you're taking in all this illegal income. Tell the government basically,
Very, very sad
in case you hadn't noticed, I've been bootlegging for the past year and here's how much I made.
I want you to know what
When the Supreme Court announced that, yes, illegal income is taxable, it was a great moment of confusion for all these criminals, and many of them
for so
down
many
in filed
people
tax
to
returns.
break out of the
Get around the
economic
filing. Neither did his brother
chains of the
Ralph.
inner cities. We gave them
For
the
2
kind of
years,
music
the
that they
government
wanted to
tried
hear.
without success to build a
He was an
case,
innovator.
any case,
He was
against
a
Capone.
creative, original thinker. He conceptualized. And
By
anybody that he touched will never be
1931,
the
Al
same.
Capone was at the
I
top
know
of
that
his
he made
game.
me better than I was.
He had no real rivals anymore
Ice Cube,
among Chicago's
and all of us who were there at the
and he
beginning.
continued to expand
He was
his
the kind of
empire
person that could
in
make
case
2 + 2
prohibition was
= 5.
repealed. He took
gonna
over
miss him
labor
very much.
unions, chauffeurs,
Very sorry,
plumbers,
Katie.
city workers, motion picture projectionists, soda pop, kosher poultry, and he toyed with the idea of going into the dairy business because more people bought milk than booze. Besides, the markup was higher. Honest to God, he said, we've been in the wrong racket right along. Meanwhile, President Hoover remained determined to put America's most famous bootlegger behind bars, one way